Well, howdy ho, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show podcast, coming from right here in our quaint little studio. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. I'm joined in studio today by Ray Ora.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Jonathan Voitkos here.
Good morning.
Writer, director, producer Robert Meyer Burnett is here.
It's game day.
But, it is. You know what? I didn't even put that in the show notes today, that we should have been talking about Andor here. But it is the finale of Andor is happening tonight. But, of course, most importantly, guys, you guys are here. Thank you so much for being here and making our little show a part of your day. Here's how today's show is going to go. We're going to start off by talking about a number of predetermined topics we got lined up for you guys. Then in the second part of the show, well, that's when we take your comments and questions. If you have a thought, theory, opinion, question, or an issue you'd like us to discuss, go ahead and fire it on into our tip link at www.streamelements.com/JohnCampea/tip. Now, we will read most of them, but we do reserve the right to not read one if we consider it to be inappropriate for the show. But listen, here's the good news about the tip link. It's actually good 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So if you happen to be listening to this show a little bit later in the day, say on your podcast feed like Apple Podcasts or Spotify or your favorite podcasting app of choice, or if you're watching this video a little bit later in the day, you can still send in a question. And if you send one in when we're not live, we'll just get around to answering it on the next episode. Oh, you know what I just read?
I don't.
Pour one out for your friends. Suits LA has gotten canceled
Oh yeah.
after one season.
Just wait.
Before the season's all aired.
Just wait till the next pandemic. It's gonna have its moment to
It'll
show.
have its time. I'll tell you what, I loved Suits, and I love Stephen Amell, and I was really looking forward to this new Suits show. I tapped out after 3 episodes.
It wasn't good.
It wasn't good.
You
It
guys
wasn't
aren't
good
real
at
ones.
all.
It
You don't like
wasn't fun.
lawyers.
No.
Suits was a fun show.
Yep. It was fun. It was like the banter, the dialogue was all great. I don't know what it was. Like the performers were all good and everything, but I like 3 episodes and I'm like, I can't take it anymore. I like Stephen Amell too much to watch this train wreck. And so yeah, pour one out for Suits LA, ladies and gentlemen.
They tried.
Anyway, let's get things started off here today, shall we? We're going to get things started with this. Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning, comes out next week. Same day as Lilo and Stitch. We could be getting a little bit of a Barbenheimer kind of situation going on with those 2 movies coming out on the same day. As a matter of fact, the tracking for Mission Impossible right now say it's going to be the biggest opening ever for a Mission Impossible film.
Yeah.
Which would be great considering the box office of the last Mission Impossible was okay, but it wasn't great even by Mission Impossible standards.
Disappointing.
A little disappointing, but the movie looks really good. And now the first reactions for Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning, have come out, and they're pretty good. They're pretty good. Some people loving it, some people not so much. Most of the people that I listened to were more along the lines of, it's solid. It's solid. Some of the common critiques I heard was way too much exposition. Like that's one I heard from a lot of people, like way too exposition heavy. It's a little lighter on the action than some of the other Mission Impossible films, but that the action that is there is bonkers good. So anyway, the Hollywood Reporter went out and gathered together some of the reactions. Astonishing. Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning described as pure cinema, at least by a couple of people, as first reactions hit social media. So let's jump over here and see what some of them said. Anthony wrote, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning is the action movie of the summer. Tom Cruise defies all odds with jaw-dropping action built only for IMAX. Every stunt, every set piece, every second is designed to blow your mind. A pulse-pounding thrill ride. And Cruise remains the show. All right? So they loved it. Our friend Germain Lucier, who's been on the show back when it was still called Movie Talk back in the day. And Germain writes, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning is oddly the least action-forward entry in the franchise. It's long, it's plotty, it's repetitive. But when those scenes do hit, holy shit, they're incredible. So I'm pretty mixed on it overall, highs and lows. So we got one saying, it's the action movie of the summer. And then Germain is like, when it works, it really works. But it doesn't always work. Anyway, our friend Eric Davis writes, Director Christopher McQuarrie and star Tom Cruise truly take Mission Impossible to the next level with The Final Reckoning. Absolutely astonishing action moments meet a sprawling story with many nods to past Mission Impossible films. It's the biggest, wildest, and most consequential Mission Impossible movie yet. Drew wrote, Mission Impossible Final Reckoning ties up loose ends of the franchise while also coming full circle on storylines I never imagined would be revisited. The wonderfully insane stunts are to be expected, but the film really hinges on the tension throughout. It's a great time. Then we get Dave Baldwin writes, best to take blood pressure meds before watching Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning, because once the insanity starts, it doesn't stop. It's exceptionally entertaining with pulse-pounding stunts that will leave you gasping, Tom Cruise has done it again. By the way, they put out a new little special. They put out a new little feature online of him doing the stunt 8,000 feet above the ground. It's just kind of crazy. He's one of a kind. Brad wrote, Mission Impossible Final Reckoning is a thrilling, emotionally satisfying conclusion to one of cinema's greatest sagas. I don't know that I'd call Mission Impossible one of cinema's... I'm a Mission Impossible fan. I don't think I'd call it one of cinema's great sagas. But while it drags in the middle, this leads into a third act, more breathtaking and pulse-pounding than you can imagine. The plane sequence is an all-timer. By the way, he's saying it drags in the middle. I heard from a few people that it was the first hour, the first act that really drags. But, he says it drags a little bit in the middle. Kevin Phoenix writes, wow, Mission Impossible Final Reckoning is pure cinema. The latest Mission Impossible will easily go down as the greatest action film of all time. Okay, I'm checked out. I'm sorry. I'm checked out of whatever he says from now on.
It's the greatest action film this week.
I'll say, how about that? It's the great, listen, if that's how he feels, that's fine. And I haven't seen the movie. Maybe I'll say the same thing. I doubt it. It is the greatest. It will easily go down as the greatest action film of all time. A heart-pounding and jaw-dropping thrill from start to finish. Watch it as big as loud as possible. All right. Okay.
I guess it depends on how many action films he's ever watched.
Yeah. If this
It's
is
all
the second
perspective.
action film,
Yeah.
like if he just watches black and white Russian,
He's like the
Russian
biplane
films.
The biplane scene in Out of Africa. That was
That was
thrilling.
top
but
tier.
This really puts biplane action up there.
Come on, man. Everyone knows the English Patient biplane scene's better than one out of Africa.
It's so
Come
good.
on. There's even a crash involved.
Anyway, it goes on. So like a lot of the
What is a
both
crash
on
involved in Out of Africa? So you just don't see it.
That's true.
the ones on YouTube and the ones on blogs and stuff that I've read, it kind of ping ponged like that. It's a lot of people really just focusing on the action, saying the action is great, but then some people kind of cautioning that yes, the action is great, but it's not as much action as we've gotten used to in Mission Impossible films. It's overly expository and it drags, either depending on who you're listening to, it drags in Act 1 or Act 2. So overall, though, the general sense seems to be, Rob, that the movie is solid film. It's definitely got highs. And maybe that's good enough. I mean, that's enough for me. I'm looking forward to seeing it. But, I was kind of hoping to hear that they, like everybody's saying, this is the best of the franchise. I didn't hear a single person say that, well, except for greatest action film of all time. But anyway, what do you think about the reactions we're hearing? How does that line up with where your expectations have been? And you looking forward to seeing it?
I'm very much looking forward to seeing this movie. I've liked all the Mission Impossible movies. Yes, even Mission Impossible 2, suckers. I enjoy these films. I enjoy Tom Cruise in the role of Ethan Hunt. I mean, I did that. I went back and did a rewatch. I didn't watch Dead Reckoning Part 1 again, but all the way through Fallout recently in the last year. And it's a surprising franchise because the first 3 movies all feel totally different from one another. I mean, De Palma's movie's wild. Mission Impossible 2 is John Woo being John Woo. Mission Impossible 3 is like a TV movie. Tom Cruise is in a romantic relationship. It's such a strange, and his wife doesn't know what he does. And then you get to Ghost Protocol, and it's like, oh, this is what the franchise has aspired to be the whole time. And then you get to Rogue Nation, which I love. And then, of course, Fallout, which is amazing. So this movie franchise, it's just been solid for me all the way through. Like, I'm not one of these people that watches Mission Impossible 2 and says, no, that movie sucked. I'm like, no, it's totally different than Mission Impossible 1. You got cool motorcycle action. Tom Cruise, he's climbing a mountain in the beginning. It's got all this bonkers stuff in it. This franchise is not it's not high art, but I really enjoy watching them all. And I think the most of all of them, the most disappointing to me, I think, was kind of Dead Reckoning, because it followed Fallout, and Fallout is so good that you'd expect something to top it, but it's still really interesting, and I would expect moving into this movie probably brings Dead Reckoning Part 1 up in my estimation, because they're paying off a lot of stuff that happened in that movie, and people are talking about how they've kind of done the Daniel Craig era of Bond movies and tied this whole thing together, which I'm interested in. I'm like, really? We're going to go back? Because you see that clip where he's got the knife from the first Mission Impossible. I'm like,
well, I mean, they did some harkening back to previous Mission Impossibles in Dead Reckoning Part 1.
Yeah,
it's called
totally. And I'm like, what's not to love? Like I don't know what people expect. I'm not expecting Citizen Kane. I'm not. I'm expecting Mission Impossible, and the Mission Impossible movies, I don't think are what people think the Mission Impossible movies were. I think they've always been solid, meat and potatoes, action cinema. None of them have let me down. And I would expect this one's going to be monumentally entertaining. And when people say, oh, it drags, I'm like, no, it doesn't drag. That's the spycraft. Tell me what's going on.
Unless it does drag. I mean,
I don't know. I've
we'll
never
see.
I don't know.
Because, I mean, there's one thing, like, for instance, you can be slow without it being a slow burn. Slow burn's great.
That's
slow
true.
is not, right? So here's the question, though, because we were talking a little bit earlier about the fact that right now the box office projections are saying it's going to open, I think they say anywhere between $60 and $75 million, which would be, it's weird to think about it like this, but that would be the biggest opening weekend for a Mission Impossible film. So here's the question. Does Mission Impossible Final Reckoning become the first Mission Impossible film to join the $1 billion club?
Well, okay, I would say it has a huge handicap, and that is it's 3 hours long.
Yeah.
And that exponentially increases the time it needs, the tickets it needs to sell to get over $1 billion. So I would say it really depends on how good it is and how gratifying people feel coming out of it, and how long it's going to play in theaters. It has a lot of competition coming up behind it. So will it continue, and will it have the repeatability? Which I think it might. But there's a lot of, look, this is a strong summer. And in my heart, John, I'd like it to gross over $1 billion.
It'd be good if one
You
did.
know what? Because no one's half-assing this franchise.
Yeah, that's true.
Tom Cruise and Chris McQuarrie are doing the best work they possibly can do. They're putting their heart and souls into this. I mean, deserving's got nothing to do with it. But if anybody deserves it, Tom Cruise and Chris McQuarrie and Paramount deserve $1 billion gross.
Yeah, see, I don't think it's going to hit $1 billion either. But and I agree with your reasoning. But my main reason is because of Dead Reckoning.
Right.
The reality, while I liked Dead Reckoning, it didn't have the best reception for a Mission Impossible film. And like when you're coming off of a weaker installment, and again, I'm not saying it was weaker. I had a really good time with it. But the general consensus was that it was kind of a weaker installment of the franchise. And so it's hard to surpass that box office coming off of a weaker effort.
Right.
So
Right.
I just don't think it will. But if it opens to the biggest opening it's ever had, who knows?
Yeah, these guys have put they've given us four. And they've done everything they can to entertain the hell out of us.
Yeah.
And they've that alone is deserving of praise, because no one can I call him McHugh? I've met him before. I've had dinner with him. I can't call him McHugh though. Mr. McQuarrie and Tom Cruise have earned their keep as far as I'm concerned. I want them to make all the money. Unfortunately, they're going up against Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah.
And they are going to get all the money.
They are going to get all the money. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? We've got the first reactions for Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning. Some of them very, very good. Some of them good. Some of them a little bit more cautious. But does that line up with where you thought it would be? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? I'm going to admit that I thought it was a dumb idea to do Creed. If I want a Rocky movie, I want to see a Rocky movie. I don't want to see a movie about Apollo Creed's son. And damn it, it was awesome. It was so great. Michael B. Jordan has really thrived in it, even making his directorial debut doing one of them. Well, now we're getting a Creed universe because they've just announced, although we were kind of expecting this to come, there have been hints about this, that Amazon is going to be doing a Creed spin-off live series. This comes to us from the AV Club. This is, but enough shop talk. Delphi, I guess it's going to be called, billed as the first live-action series extension of the Creed universe, is focused on young boxers at the Delphi gym. Per Prime Video press release, Marcos Ramirez, The Defenders, and Jordan Peele's The Twilight Zone will serve as showrunner on the series. Michael B. Jordan, star of Creed and director of the third installment, will executive produce. Back in 2023, it was reported that Jordan was spearheading the creation of the Creedverse. There's your new phrase. The Creedverse, encompassing both film and television projects, with Amazon MGM Studios, in addition to a live-action companion series made manifest with Delphi. Other rumored projects included an anime series, Michael B. Jordan is a big anime guy, and something, quote-unquote, centering on Adonis Creed's daughter, Amara, per Deadline. A spin-off film about Dolph Lundgren's Ivan Drago and his son Victor Drago, which I would love to see, portrayed by Florian I've never known how to pronounce his name. Montino? Anyway, the guy from Shang-Chi. Has long been in development, though Lundgren said in 2024 that it was put on hold in favor of Creed 4. All right. One of the other things the article mentions is that apparently this is all being done without any involvement from Sylvester Stallone.
Or Ryan Coogler.
Or Ryan Coogler. Although, you know, Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan are so tight, I'm sure they'll have some involvement.
Get him to direct the pilot.
He'll be involved. I mean, technically, remember, Ryan Coogler didn't direct the final two Creed films either.
No, and he didn't own the franchise.
Yeah.
So,
whereas, you remember, there was that big stink that Sylvester Stallone made when the reports came out about that Drago show or Drago movie, whatever it's going to be. And he raised a hissy fit online. Like, he went nuclear online. And
he's like, they're vultures.
Yeah,
the bones off of
every time. And then the guy, what's the name of the guy who plays Drago?
Dolph Lundgren.
Dolph Lundgren. Like, Dolph Lundgren had to go on and make a public post, say, listen, I don't know anything about any of this. Like, I'm just.
Well, I mean, the fact is, Irwin Winkler's company, Irwin Winkler and Robert Chardoff produced Rocky. While Stallone created it, when you create it and you don't have the money and someone else comes along to produce it and provides the money, you sell your rights. That's why, the people that created Dean Devlin and Roland Emmerich had nothing to do with the Stargate TV shows that were derived from a film that they wrote and created. They had nothing, and that Stargate series went on and on and on and on and on, and the creators of the franchise didn't get a dime.
Yeah, I still listen, I'm a big Stallone guy. I love Sylvester Stallone, but I remember when that whole thing was going on and he was complaining about, the guy owned like Irvin Winkler and stuff like that. It's like, you chose to sell the rights to it.
Yes, you did.
You chose to give up the rights to it so you could get your movie made.
I mean, it's like, bro, you won Best Picture at the Academy Awards.
Yeah. And your movie wouldn't have got made if you didn't make that deal.
And you did make 6 Rocky movies.
Yeah, and you made a lot of money. So here's my question, though. I wonder if behind the scenes, this new Creed series is being done with Stallone's blessing, or if at some point we're going to see another social media outlash from Stallone complaining about it. I'm going to believe the best. I'm going to believe that he knows this is happening and he's cool with it. But anyway, let's get to the real issue here, though. What do you think about a story centering on this gym, young boxers? Do you expect Michael B. Jordan to at least appear in it now and again? I don't know. What do you see about that?
I actually think the premise of using this gym as the center with a wheel with spokes of characters is a great idea. I think that milieu, because you can look at people from all walks of life. I could see this being the Friday Night Lights. Like, I love Friday Night Lights. It's one of I like the movie, but I think the TV series, to me, the TV series is the Star Trek of West Texas or East Texas football. and I think that, if that's possible, and I think that a show like this could be really, really interesting, because You could look at the different ethnicities of people that fight in the gym. You could see their stories. I think it could be really compelling. And in the same way, like I love the Fame TV series that was based on Alan Parker's movie. I thought that's it was great. I love the movie too. I just think that this is a milieu that's ripe for telling stories of today. It has built-in true diversity, a component there. It has a built-in, there's going to be fights. So you've got rivalries and you've got, so the actual milieu of it is, I think, a perfect dramatic place to start great storytelling. What it needs is great writing. I don't think Jordan Peele's Twilight Zone series, nor did I think The Defenders were the greatest shows in the world. Yeah. But, you know, maybe we'll step up and put together a great writer's room because I think this show could be great. Yeah. It's right up my alley, right?
Being set in such like a small build, like a small gym, you have so much writing opportunities. You could do relationships of father and son.
Oh, yeah.
Or, but the best part about this is I just think of when it comes to boxing, there's a lot of sparring stories between top fighters going at it and no one's supposed to speak about it. They could get into that where, fighters before they turn pro, they go at it and then they turn pro and they're big time and they have to fight each other. And this, I don't know, there's just so many aspects about, and so many stories that you could tell out of just a gym.
Yeah. I mean, and you could have all kinds of people training at this gym.
I'll be honest with you, I'm a little dubious about it. I am. Like, to see a movie about boxing is one thing. Can you do a series about it?
Yeah. Because you'll get into the human story. It's
but that's the thing. If it's a Creed universe, once people realize Creed isn't going to be much of a part of it, like are people going to still be interested?
He needs to be in it at least a couple episodes.
Well, I'm sure he'll make an appearance here and there.
His daughter?
But that's the thing. Is it going to be about his daughter?
Maybe,
if not, then why put her in there at all?
Well, remember, it's not called Creed.
No, it's not. It's called Delphi.
And it's the gym.
But the selling point is Creed, right? So I don't know. Listen,
here,
I hope it works. I really do. I'm a little bit dubious about it.
And it's on MGM Plus. I don't know how the reach on it really.
Well, it's Amazon.
Will it be on Amazon?
Well, MGM Plus is not a different service than Amazon.
I think it's all under one umbrella. I think.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it'd be dope. I don't know. I think it'd be great.
Anyway, I'll listen. I'll get more interested if they say that Victor Drago is going to be a part of this. Because when you watch Creed 3, I mean, clearly Victor is a big deal in the boxing world now. Right? And him and Creed Adonis are friends now. So, I mean, maybe I'll come around on that a little bit, but we'll see. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Do you like the idea of a Creed-verse and getting this spin-off series? I think it's got potential, although I admit I am a little bit dubious of it, but I hope it works out. Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Last week on the show, we did a segment where AMC theaters had reported their attendance for the first quarter report had gone down and their revenue had gone down and missed projections. And us, being the, prognosticators, the Nostradamus of the movie world, gave some thoughts about what we thought AMC theaters should do. And one of the main points that I made is you need more special promotional events, likened unto special Tuesdays, right? You need to create events that make it, whether it's a day of the week or whatever, where prices are really low, to just get people back into the habit of coming to the theater. Because you get people in the habit of coming back to the theater, they'll come back again, so on and so forth. Well, obviously, my best friend, Adam Aaron, CEO of AMC Theaters, me and him,
on speed dial, baby.
On speed dial, BFFs.
Morning talks.
Emergency contact listing. He was clearly watching the show because according to the Hollywood Reporter, clearly, all of a sudden AMC Theaters has announced half-price Wednesdays starting July 9th, just in time for the release of Superman. This is what the Hollywood Reporter has to write. For years, there's been a spike in moviegoing on Tuesdays when it can cost half as much to take a trip to thousands of cinemas across the country. AMC Theaters, the country's largest exhibitor, upped the ante in a major way on Monday when extending the discount to Wednesdays for members of AMC's Stubs program, which is free to join. It's a loyalty program that currently has about 36 million subscribers. This is not the same as A-List, which is a paid thing, but Stubs is a free service. You can just sign up to it for free. Beginning July 9th, 2025, Stubs members can buy a ticket for all releases at 50% off the normal adult evening ticket price. The new policy will commence several days before James Gunn's Superman flies into cinemas on July 11th, and not long after the 4th of July tentpole Jurassic World Rebirth debuts on July 2nd. Now, the article does go on to explain that there may be some special holidays or maybe even a couple of specific movies, depending on the studio, that might not be covered by this. After all, a studio can give a kibosh saying we don't want that pricing for our movie, but I think most studios will go along with it most of the time. Listen, what can I say? What can I possibly say about whether I like this move or not? I just recommended this move. So of course I think this is a good move. This is a great move. Why? Because nobody goes to the movies on Wednesdays anyway.
It's the lowest day.
Right.
Yep. And I mean, Tuesdays might have been if it wasn't for the fact that it was already a special day for that. But listen, the idea, if a regular movie ticket in a regular theater, like not Prime or something like that, was $12, you want to go see Mission Impossible? $6. Now, I still recommend people get A-List. That's what I think you should. I think that's the real economical choice. But that aside, if you don't want to get committed and tied down to a membership program, listen, join AMC Stubs for free, get perks, and then on Tuesdays now and Wednesdays, you get to go for half price. That is a deal in and of itself. I mean, would it be great if they had tied that to Friday and Saturday? Sure, but they can't possibly do that. So to do it on Wednesday, listen, is this the greatest move ever made by a movie theater chain? No. But is it a positive move? Absolutely. Do I think that we're going to have millions of film fans flooding to the theaters on Wednesdays now? No. But do I believe more people will go out on a Wednesday now because of the discount? Yes. And if those people have fun going to the movies, as long as you don't put 30 fucking minutes of trailers in front of a movie first, are they more likely to come back again? Yes. Will this help get some people back into the habit of going to the movies? Yes. It's a good move. Is it the magic bullet that's going to cure all the ills of the movie theater industry? No. But is it a positive step? Yes, I like this. Rob, you hear about this. A little bit unexpected to be talking about AMC Theaters. Good move. But here we are. What do you think about their decision?
Look, it's a fantastic idea. And as Jonathan pointed out, the least attended time in movie theaters is Wednesdays. And you know, once you establish something like this, you don't just have people going in the summer, you have older people going, you know, in midweek. You have seniors going midweek. You have all kinds of people that want to save money and who love movies that are going to go out. And can you imagine if you suddenly turn the least grossing day at AMC? AMCs are usually pretty big facilities. You up that could substantially affect their bottom line.
Oh yeah, it can be.
And I think it's great. I think it's great for theaters. There's no downside in my mind at all.
No. And you know it's not discounted. Soda and popcorn.
Yeah.
And
right.
And if you're saving half price, you might be like, well, we saved half. Let's put it toward a popcorn or something like that, you know?
Listen, I'll tell you, people don't understand this. And they kind of look at me weird when I say this. But I said, if movie theaters had their ways, really had their way, they would charge $3 a movie ticket. They really would. You know why? Because that's not where they make their money.
Yeah.
Most of that movie ticket money goes back to the studios. They make their money by getting you and me into the theaters, and then me, who is a butter addict, and I need my butter seasoned with popcorn, and that's where they make their money. They make their money off you and me going to the concession stand, and that's how they pay their staff. That's how they pay the kids. That's how they keep the lights on. So, I mean, if it was up to the movie theaters, they would just say, hey, $3 movie tickets, right? But the movie studios clearly would not go along with that. But it's, again, is this the magic bullet that cures everything? No. Is this the biggest tectonic shift in the world of movie going? No. But is it a positive? It is. And if they can keep doing little positive things, it adds up. So I applaud my best friend, Adam Aaron,
And I just want
and
to
this
say
decision to do this.
it's very smart to make it only available to Stubs members. It's
Yes.
just one step closer to A-list, right?
Yep.
Like getting them to sign up. I mean, some people don't even want to sign up for Stubs. It's too much work. But now it gives them an incentive, right?
But even then, even if you just have Stubs, like I know for me, like there was this when I lived in Burbank, okay? There was this Greek restaurant right by the AMC. You remember that one? There was
Oh,
that
yeah.
Greek place right by the AMC,
Mhm.
right? And I got my little Greek card. I don't eat a lot of Greek food, but just because I knew that by going to the Greek restaurant, I was getting another little ticket punch, that I was one step closer to a free shawarma, or not shawarma. What do you call it?
Hero.
Euro.
Euro.
Thank you. I was one step closer to a free euro. Listen, so even if you just get people signed up to Stubs, which is free, and they see, oh, I got this many points. I could get this benefit, and I can get this benefit. Again, all of this stuff is just little things, but little things can add up to good things. And again, I think it's a good move on their part. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? AMC Theaters is announcing that they're extending that Tuesday special. They're going to make Wednesdays great too by charging you half price to go to their movies. I think it's a good move. And if it does catch on, I expect to hear Regal doing this soon. I expect to hear Cinemark doing this
bruh.
soon. Lowe's Theaters. I expect Edwards. I expect for them to all do it. Whatever you think about it, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this. One of the more intriguing announcements, I think, over the past 2 years or so for me in the world of movies was that they were going to do a live action Nicolas Cage Spider-Man Noir series. Of course, you remember Nicolas Cage voiced Spider-Man Noir in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. And he's great in it. And they announced they were going to do a live action series of it. Not the best news I've heard, but certainly amongst the most intriguing. Well, my favorite word, the tangibilization of it, is now here. As not only did they drop the first official look at the character, there's Nicolas Cage in the costume, but they actually dropped a first little teaser. And it's truly a little teaser, about 40, 45 seconds long. And I don't know if either of us looked it up, but Jonathan was going, is that Lawrence Fishburne doing the narration? Did you look it up?
You know what? I completely forgot.
Okay,
I'm gonna look it up now.
I don't think it was Lawrence Fishburne. Jonathan thinks it was Lawrence Fishburne. Maybe he's right. But I'll tell you what. I love the look of it. I didn't know if I would like the black and whiteness of it. I didn't know how they were going to handle this Spider-Man, like whether he's just literally going to be like a gumshoe and he's going to just do the fisticuffs. Come on, let me see. And like, I love the way he moved.
Yeah.
So he is a powered character. And I thought they might not do that in this, but lo and behold, there they are. I like the visual style of it. This little teaser doesn't give us anything about what's the premise of this, what's going on here. And you know what? That's fine for now. All it was given us is the look, the tone, the feel. And this might be a big giant bag of crap, but it feels nice. I gotta say, I kind of like what I saw so far. Anyway, Rob, what did you think about it?
I thought it was cool. Like, I just love that this show got made. Like, I think it's wild that here you have, the Spider-Verse movies, and then we get this live action adaptation with Nicolas Cage in it. I mean, it's pretty bonkers, but it's Nicolas Cage, so you expect bonkers, and it looks good. Like, I looked at this and went, wow. And there's, of course, we saw some behind the scenes footage a couple months back, like where he's standing on top of some truck. And some
the
action
stills
scene.
that came out.
And I'm like, man, I'm in. This show looks cool. What's not? Look, is it going to be great? No idea. But I'll tell you this, I'm tuning in.
Yeah.
And
I'm tuning in.
Think about this. The conversation's changed today than it did not so long ago, because this is going to be an Amazon Prime series.
Yeah.
And now, when you're talking about Amazon Prime, you're talking about The Boys. You're talking about Fallout. You're talking about, there are obviously some other ones already, like Marvel's Ms. Maisel and things like that. We got the God of War thing coming. Yeah. The Reacher. So they're actually starting to cobble together a fairly nice stable. And if they can make this thing work, I'll be impressed.
I love the small fight scene that they had where he was sliding through it. Something about a detective that works like a ninja, like sounds like it's like really cool to me. Like there was a little bit of Splinter Cell, a little bit of
there
solid.
was a little bit of Splinter Cell.
Solid,
wasn't there?
Solid Snake and ninjas in there.
Dude, Solid Snake and ninjas? Come on, that's like orgasmic.
And you know what? I didn't think I wanted this until I saw the trailer. Once I saw the little teaser, I thought, what I didn't want them to do is do the silly kind of schlocky novelty of the old PI thing where you're constantly hearing him narrate through it was a dark, rainy night, like true noir, right? I didn't want that in a Spider-Man thing. Now that I've seen this,
Damn it, why not?
I think I do kind of want that in it. I
Yeah.
think I do want to hear
Well, it
Nicolas
depends how
Cage narrating
it
as he
depends
goes.
how it's done.
Yeah.
You know, I was lucky in that I had Max Allen Collins writing it, so the Road to Perdition writer himself.
And it's cool seeing Spider-Man in doing things a different way, right?
This we've never seen Spider-Man like this.
Yeah,
And so,
so
it's
it's
going to
cool
be
to see him.
kind of interesting to see that. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this new little teaser for Spider-Man Noir? I got to admit, I'm kind of digging it. So does it turn out to be good? We'll find out. Whatever you guys feel about it, jump down into the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. All right, guys. With that down, we're going to take some time here to play a little game of true or false. A little bit earlier this morning, I jumped into our community post tab and I asked our viewers, hey, you got any true or false scenarios for us? Ton of you left some in there. We picked out 7 of them, I think, Jonathan.
Yes.
So we picked out 7 of them. So let's get on over to it. What do we got up first?
We got the nerd upstairs says, John, true or false? Jonathan Majors returns as Kang for at least one scene in Avengers Doomsday.
You know, this is something that's been getting asked more and more. Like, I really thought that the more time that passed, the less this would fade into the background. But it's just becoming a bigger and bigger thing. More and more people are here asking, Jonathan Majors coming back as Kang. I think the answer is no. And I think it's no from both sides. Number one, I don't think Disney wants the distraction of it, because let's be honest, for right or wrong, through nobody's fault, if Jonathan Majors is in there, that becomes a distraction, right? It just does. And so I don't think Disney wants that. They've moved on from Kang. They don't want to, if they bring Kang in even for a scene or two, then that's counterproductive to their goal of trying to let the MCU move on from Kang, because through no fault of Jonathan Majors, the Kang character didn't work. They dropped the ball on it. But even if Disney wanted it, why on earth would Jonathan Majors come in and do, oh, you want me to come back for 2 or 3 scenes and get beat up by Doctor Doom or something like that? Why would he do that? It wouldn't do him any good either. So I'm going to say false. Jonathan Majors does not come back for this. What do you think, Rob?
I think he's not going to come back. I think there's a possibility they may address Kang in some way, but that doesn't mean Jonathan Majors has to be a part of that. You know, the same way that Hugo Weaving wasn't the Red Skull in Infinity War, but they had him in there. You know? And I think there's a possibility they could, like they could have, you know, if there's some kind of a montage of Doctor Doom's doing a bunch of stuff, like skipping through the multiverse, tying up loose ends, you could see some nod to Kang, or he's just in a quick scene doing something. I mean, I don't know, but I don't think it's going to be Jonathan Majors.
Yeah. So we're both going to go with false on that. All right, what's next?
We got Jules says, Rob, true or false? Feige will announce an X-Men movie at San Diego Comic-Con.
I'm going to say true. I think they want to galvanize. You know what? In my heart, I want Kevin Feige to announce an X-Men movie at Comic-Con. So because it's what I want, I'm going to say true.
I'm going to say true. I mean, listen, we just heard, and normally when you hear about a director coming on or an actor coming on, there's usually like a 2 or 3 month delay. Like by the time we hear it, it was actually a few months earlier.
Yeah.
And we just talked last week about the major trades reporting that it looks like they might have their X-Men director. If they've got their director, they're ready to announce. And we already know they've had their screenwriter on forever. They've had the screenwriter for a while. So I think they'll be ready to announce. Now, the one thing that makes me think it's questionable is the fact that Does Kevin Feige want to take attention away right now from Fantastic Four, from Doomsday, and from Secret Wars by now talking about X-Men? That's the one catch here. But overall, I think true. I think we're going to get an X-Men announcement.
Well, I think that what better way to cause greater anticipation, because, you know, we don't know where the MCU, we know we're getting Avengers, we know we're getting Fantastic Four, and Comic-Con is after Fantastic Four.
Yes.
So they've got Doomsday and Secret Wars coming.
Yeah.
That's all. And Spider-Man, Brand New Day.
Yeah.
We know those are coming, but that's it.
I think there's a much better chance they're going to announce X-Men. They're going to make any Blade announcement. So
Yeah.
So
yeah. I mean, X-Men's the kind of thing. And remember, they're shooting Secret Wars and Doomsday back to back.
Yeah.
So they're in production there, and Spider-Man is a Sony movie. So they don't have anything to announce.
well,
So
or they have a lot to announce.
Or,
Like,
well,
who
that's what
knows?
I mean. But if they have X-Men, they could announce the entire X-verse. And,
Yeah.
and that's what I think that we're going to get. We're going to lean into that. And by the way, I'm all for it. You know me, I love me some X-Men.
All right, we're both going with true on that. All right, what's next?
We got Cody. So, John, true or false? Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning will be the highest grossing of the franchise.
I got to go false on that.
gotta be Fallout,
it
right?
can do well. It can do well, but I just don't see it. Again, even we were talking about this a little bit earlier. Even if it does have the biggest opening of any of their films, it's coming off of a weaker film in the again, not to me, but it seems like to most people. Dead Reckoning Part 1 wasn't one of the stronger things. It didn't do as great at the box office as some previous Mission Impossible films. I think that makes it really tough. And as Rob was pointing out earlier, it's opening on the same weekend as Lilo and Stitch. Could there be a Barbenheimer effect? Could be. But in general, I'm just going to say no, I don't think it's going to be. I'm going to say false. Rob?
I'm going to say false, too. And it's, again, 3 hours long. It's not exactly a 4-quadrant movie. So, I would like it to be. I hope it is for the filmmaker's
Oh, me too.
sake.
I hope it does.
But I don't think, if I'm being asked true or false, I'm going to say false.
All right. What's next?
Okay, Rob. Tim Vanderwall asks, true or false? We'll get a Doctor Doom special presentation before Doomsday. Or
Ooh,
between
like
the
a
two.
Disney Plus, like a 1 hour long show about
Yeah.
the history of Doctor Doom. I'm going to say false. I think it's a good idea, but I'm going to say false because I think they want to put all their eggs in that Doomsday basket. I think if anything, a special we're going to get something at the end of Fantastic Four, as we should.
I'm going to say absolutely dead false for a couple of reasons. One, why would you want to blow your load? Like when in like some
Well, there's a lot of reasons for that.
I know, but in some piddly little Disney Plus special for
Right.
Doctor Doom, you want an iconic, memorable, cinematic on the big screen entrance for Doctor Doom. You don't want him limping his way into the MCU. And the second thing is this. They're not going to want to pay Robert Downey Jr. $600 million to come and do a 20-minute special.
Come on, it'd be
There's
fun.
just no way. So absolutely false. Not a chance.
Yeah.
All right. What's next?
All right. We got KRSN Cali says, John, true or false? Ryan Coogler will receive an Oscar nomination for directing Sinners.
Is that me or you?
That's you.
Oh,
John.
me. Oh, that's true. Yeah, listen, it's a little bit of a tougher thing to say rather than a Best Picture nomination because, of course, at the Oscars now, you get 10 nominees for Best Picture. I can't see there being 10 more better films than Sinners this year. Sinners is the best film of the year so far, in my opinion. There's only 5 spots for Best Director, so that it becomes a little bit more tricky. But that movie's all direction, man. I mean, incredible performances yet, but a lot of the performances are due to the direction. I absolutely believe it's true. Coogler will get a Best Director nomination this year. Rob?
I think so too. I mean, it's an auteurist vision. He wrote and directed it. What he did with that film is so personal and yet it's so accessible for an audience. He absolutely should get it and he deserves it.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, before you move on, I just want to address this one thing. I saw a couple people in the live chat because we were talking about the Doctor Doom thing. Said, but John, some people don't know who Doctor Doom is. Nobody knew who Darth Vader was before the start of Star Wars. They didn't need to do a Darth Vader special before they put out Star Wars. Nobody knew who Hans Gruber was before Die Hard. They didn't have to, ABC television didn't have to do a 20-minute Hans Gruber special.
That would have been so amazing.
Well, of course,
though.
my mom's coffee clutch was always knitting Thanos sweaters for me in my entire
That's
youth.
true. That's true. Yeah.
I mean, that's a good thing that people don't know who Doom is. That just doubles down on the fact that you want his entrance to be epic, right? Kind of like that Darth Vader and with the carnage on the gore, stepping through the smoke, dur, dun, dur, and he steps through and you hear, like, you want that for Doom. Anyway.
I mean, think about the opening of Infinity War, which I might have watched last night. The opening,
Which I might have watched
which I, to be honest, I did.
I can
'cause I'd
neither
watched,
confirm nor deny.
I'd watched Endgame, and I just put it on. I was watching because it's IMAX enhanced. And you think about the opening of that film. It opens with Thanos' ship blowing up the remnants of the Asgardian fleet. He kills Loki. He's walking over, him and Ma are walking over the bodies of dead Asgardians.
And then he beats up the Hulk.
And then he beats up the Hulk and throws him off. I mean, if that's the opening, but it's the Doom version of that, we'll be fine.
Yeah, we'll be
fine.
okay. All right. Sorry about that. I sidelined us there for a second. All right, what's next?
All right, moving on to the sixth question for Rob. Nicholas Meyer says, true or false, Ballerina will gross more than the first 3 John Wick movies, but not more than John Wick 4.
Ooh.
You know what? I'm going to go true on that. I because I've heard from my friend who's in exhibition that Ballerina is quite good, and I think that what it's going to have. Again, don't count out the female audience. You'll get your John Wick fans, but also Ballerina is going to, I think, bring in the female contingent. Daughters and their moms are going to go see some ass whooping. So I think that there is a potential that Ballerina can make a lot of money. And now hearing from a reliable source how good it is.
Yeah, I'm going to go true on this. Remember, there's this thing going around. It's like a Mandela effect in film fans thinking that John Wick is some huge blockbuster series.
Right.
It's not. Don't forget, John Wick Parabellum, John Wick Chapter 3, made just over $320 million. 300. Now, it's a very small budget film. That's great. But it's not a $1 billion franchise. It made $327 million. I absolutely think if the word of mouth is good and strong, and I think this movie looks like a ton of fun. And the preview they showed, were you at when they showed us the preview? The preview they showed us at CinemaCon for it was crazy great. Like, they showed this big long action sequence. The best use of dinner plates I've ever seen in an action sequence.
By the way, it is John Wick 4.5 too.
Yeah, in many ways it is. Again, it is her movie, but the way I like it under this, what I've been told, and I was told this about a year ago, is that John Wick is not a cameo in this movie. He's not also a lead character. What the person who talked to me about it when they were shooting it said to me, he said, think Iron Man Tony Stark in the first Spider-Man movie. A legitimate role in the film, but not one of the leads, not a cameo. So it's going to be a lot of that. I absolutely think this can make over $320 million. Now, can it reach John Wick 4's $440 million? That's a little bit iffy, but I think it can make 320. So yeah, I think it is true that Ballerina can beat the first 3 John Wicks, but not quite the 4th John Wick. All right, what's next?
All right, we got our final one here. Arya Namsharma says, John, true or false, Superman will have a domestic opening weekend greater than or equal to 150?
Absolutely false. Like, no. I mean, I hope it does. I'm cheering for it. I can't wait. But again, this movie is going to have to generate a lot of positive word of mouth because there are just too many people against it already. Either they're against it because they just, like many moviegoers, they just got tapped out of the DCU. At the end, those movies weren't making more than $200 million. I mean, it's got a long uphill battle. It's got to be great, and it's got to generate word of mouth, and it's got to get people talking, and it's got to get the buzz going. And that can't happen until the movie already opens. So does this movie make over 150 million? No. I would love it to, but it's not. So anyway, I'm going to say false. Rob?
I'm going to go true.
I hope you're right.
I'm going all in on this because I think that this is going to capture the family audience. I think that it was very shrewd for them to launch or to lead with crypto in the movie. I think that's going to get, it immediately says to families that might not have found, say, Man of Steel, the most family-friendly movie in the world, that this is a family movie that you can take your kids to, that you can take the whole family to, that it's going to be, and I think that's what they're going for. And if that's the case, and if it delivers the goods, I think it could have a huge opening weekend. But to be honest, I think you're right, but I'm going to go with True because I want it to.
Listen, and if you're asking me the question, do I think Superman will deserve to make 150 million? My guess is yes. I mean, it looks great to me, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second, but I just, will it? Man, I don't know. I don't think that might be a line too far for me to cross.
Yeah, I agree, but I think it needs to, and it should, if it's good.
All right. Again, but if it's good, it's going to take time for word that it's good to get out. Again, we'll find out. We're getting closer and closer. All right. With that down, guys, thank you so much to all of you guys who sent in the scenarios for us for true or false. Again, keep your guys' eyes open on our YouTube channel, in our community tab and stuff like that. When we fire off, we don't announce it. We just fire out calls for topics for what's more likely or true or false, whatever. So thank you guys for participating in that. All right. With that down, guys, let's move on to this, shall we? Speaking of Superman, of course, tomorrow, the full trailer for Superman comes out. By the way, what kind of show are we going to have tomorrow? We're going to be talking about the Andor finale and the brand new Superman trailer.
Yowza.
Tomorrow's going to be a busy day for us here on the John Campea Show. Looking forward to it. But that's coming. As often happens in the movie world, prior to a new trailer dropping, they decided to drop a brand new poster. And sure enough, the poster was dropped. And I got to tell you, I all kinds of love it. It's just got this feel of classic 1950s Superman.
Yes.
That kind of the pose, the looking to the future. I love the little tagline they've been using of look up. I love that. I think that's such a brilliant, just little thing. Just look up. That's literal. That's talking about believing in the man who flies, but it also it communicates, it implies hope. Just look up. I love that. I think that's wonderful. The coloring is consistent with the other stuff that we've had before. Again, I really like the direction they've gone with this. Now, whether this is the final poster or not sure, but I really dig it. But what's more attention grabbing is that they did something that I generally don't like, which is a trailer for a trailer.
Right.
But today, we already knew the trailer was coming tomorrow. They dropped a little surprise, a little tease, if you will, a little taste. They dropped a teaser for tomorrow's trailer, where we get a couple of shots that we've seen in other, like Superman jumping in front of the little girl. I love that shot, by the way. That was in the first trailer where he jumps in front of the little girl and that slow motion and like, I love that shot. I love that shot. That was the moment for me in the first trailer that I went, yeah, I'm on board. This is great. So, a shot of the Daily Planet, some stuff we've already seen, but then we got a couple of shots they had not seen before, including this one, like jaw-dropping shot of it's Superman's very tiny in the shot. It's just him in a cloud behind a dust cloud behind. It just looked awesome. And then they gave us this shot of Superman like on the ground and then beside the building and taking off towards the sky. Visually, I thought it look at this shot. Look at this shot. I thought that looked great. We got our first little words out of Lex Luthor, which I thought sounded great. We got a couple of new looks from him. But then we got to look at another antagonist in this Iron Man wannabe character, right? Up in the sky fighting Superman. At first we see him like shooting
Seamus from Metroid.
Metallo, baby.
Yeah, or shooting. You thought it could have been Cyclops shooting the optical ray out into the building, and then he starts fighting Superman in the sky. And were you able to find that one shot? This is him. If you look on his chest, there's that little star symbol.
It's Nuclear Man.
It's oh God. gosh. It's Quest for Peace. It's come back.
Oh God! Now I know.
So I confess, Rob, I don't know that symbol. That symbol's not jumping out at me.
You know what? It looks like a shuriken. Shuriken.
Yeah, it looks like a ninja
Throwing
star.
ninja
Right?
star. Pardon me, I mispronounced that word.
I'm just telling you, man. This looks. I love the teaser. I cannot wait for this trailer tomorrow. The fact that we got some more dialogue here. So, I really like the poster. I really love the trailer. God, I'm setting myself up for disappointment once I see the movie, but I've got all the faith in the world in James Gunn. I think this looks fantastic. Anyway, Rob, you had a chance to see the new trailer. You got a chance to see this little teaser for the trailer we're getting tomorrow. What's standing out?
Look,
to you?
I am very excited about this movie. I really love the approach. I thought this poster, it kind of harked back to after the post-crisis John Byrne run on Superman. When John Byrne was taking over Superman, it was a really big deal. And he went back and sort of changed the mythology a little bit, maybe depowered Superman a little bit. Of course, we lost Krypto. You know, Otto Binder and Kurt Swan probably weren't happy, but I think I like this approach, and it all feels of a piece in terms of its tone. It's a different tone than we've seen, and I really am curious about it. I'm very fired up. I can't wait to see it. I mean,
What was your favorite shot? Like the shot that you saw on that
when
thing?
he
Takes up a falling side of the
going into the clouds.
Yeah.
You know, and it's really interesting because, you know, when I was a kid, my first Superman was George Reeves in the 50s Adventures of Superman TV show, which I loved. I love the Adventures of Superman. And yet, you know, he would jump out a window, and when he would fly, you know,
Yeah.
and then I got to see Christopher Reeve become Superman, not Reeves, but Reeve. And that was, you know, him taking off. Like, there's a great scene in Superman, a live action shot where he takes off and he kind of turns and he goes upside down and he waves.
Yeah.
And
Kind of slowly.
yeah, and
a
I,
little
you know, as
roll.
he's being obviously being lifted up, I've always loved that scene because even to this day, it conveys the idea that he really can fly, kind of this effortless. And there's something about watching a man go aloft into the air that it harks back to my youngest days on this planet, and seeing Superman take off. That's a big deal for me. What do the takeoff shots look like? And this one wasn't too fast.
Right.
Like
yeah.
you could
it wasn't just
enjoy
like a bullet out of a
yeah,
gun.
you could enjoy the fact, and I know that seems weird, but that's a big deal. And I was in. I'm like,
Let me ask you
that's
this,
what I
because
wanna see.
you and I are both really excited about this film.
Yeah.
I mean, there have been many films I've been excited about and then gone and come out. But
hope it's good.
if we're both excited about it, if I were to ask you, let's say, what's your biggest fear about Superman? What's the one thing you'd be worried about this movie that it could fall into that might upend its
Okay.
quality or its success? What would you say?
Okay, this is going to sound a little weird. This is a great question. That it's not mythic enough. And when I watch Superman the movie, there's the great scene where Superman is telling Ma Kent that he's leaving. You know, and it's shot in Alberta, and you hear the da na 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 na, and the camera swoops up, and you see the planes where they shot it in Alberta. Even just telling you, it's just a boy and his mother in this massive field.
Yeah.
But he's just said, "Look, I have to leave." It's mythic. I mean, it's small town America, John Williams music, and it has this mythic scope and sweep in terms of the heart of what Superman can mean to people. And he's not even Superman yet. It's just him. It's him leaving Smallville. I just hope that this has that. It doesn't have to have that mythic quality everywhere. I still want him to go to to Smallville, and to Metropolis to see all the stuff that's going on. But I do want it to have that mythic feel, and I think that's what the Donner movie did that people weren't expecting, because the Adventures of Superman TV series was not mythic. It was Superman. It was on TV, but it was always like, well, Lois, I'm a better reporter than you. And we all knew that, you know, because Clark Kent was a total baller in that show. But that's what I want. I want the mythic nature of it. And look, Zack Snyder was good at bringing, there is certain imagery that created that mythical sense of who Superman was.
Oh, dude, his first flight in Man of Steel is
Fantastic.
Like, it's just
when Superman's
good.
coming over the ice,
Yeah.
and there's a lot. He's really great at that mythic imagery. But the reason the Donner mythic imagery worked in that particular scene is it was derived from emotion. It was derived from the emotion of Superman saying, I have to leave. And we knew what was going to happen after that. And the music and everything. I want to have that, which I have, by the way, not got from anything that I've seen from this movie. All this stuff has been fun. I did love the Fortress of Solitude, the shot where the Fortress of Solitude rotates around.
Oh, okay,
that
was awesome.
That was what I'm like,
Yeah.
that's what I want. I want that out of this movie.
And I don't know if our audience has seen that yet. I think that was only in the
No, I think it was in the preview.
Did they put that part in the preview
when they
too?
hit him with the light?
Okay, I thought they might have ended it before that part.
I mean, that was when the Fortress. I was like,
Yeah, when
wow.
the whole fortress started to rotate.
I
towards
was
the
like,
sun.
okay.
I'll tell you what
That's
my worry is. Here's my fear. My fear is summed up in the movie Thor: Love and Thunder. James Gunn is fabulous. This is really embodied in Slither, a movie that is absolutely hilarious and a really good horror movie, all at the same time, greatly balanced. He knows when to lean more into the silly. That's what Peacemaker's for. It gets more into it there, right? So he's great at that balance. My fear, the thing that I think that could derail Superman, because I want lightheartedness in Superman.
yeah.
With the heavier stuff. I want some joyful silliness going along with dire consequences and dire things at stake. I need that. I want that balance, right? Like, here's what I want. I want the adorableness breaking the tension of a broken and beaten Superman, and this adorable, faithful Crypto comes to get him. What I don't want is while getting him, Crypto and Superman's bleeding on the snow. Crypto then lifts one leg and pees on his face, going, Crypto.
Yeah.
I don't want that. So my fear, where I think this movie could go off the rails, not that it will, because I trust James Gunn, but if it did have a weak rail, I think it's that it makes the mistake that Thor: Love and Thunder did, and it goes too much. I want joy. I want humor. I want laughs in this movie. But I don't want them to overdo it on that at the expense of everything else. If he can keep that back, if he can Thor Ragnarok Superman and
Right.
avoid being Thor: Love and Thunder, I think this can be great. But that's my worry. That's my fear.
They're kind of aligned. I think you and I are in different ways.
Yeah. All right, guys. Question tomorrow's a big day. Tomorrow the Superman trailer drops, and I can't wait for it. And we're going to be talking about the Andor finale. Anyway, guys, what do you think about the new poster? I really love the new poster. I love the iconography of it. I love the feel of it. And I really like what we saw in the teaser. What are you looking forward to in this main thing? Whatever you guys feel, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, it's time for us to move on to the most important part of our show, which is, of course, taking your live comments and questions. But before we do, a couple things. I want to say goodbye to Robert Meyer Burnett. Great show. Thank you so
sir.
much, Rob. And we are also going to take a quick moment here to thank the sponsor of today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, our friends at PrizePicks. Guys, we want to take a second to thank the sponsor of today's video, PrizePicks. What a great time to be a sports fan. Basketball playoffs are on. Hockey playoffs are on. It is the perfect time to jump into the action with PrizePicks, the easiest and most fun way to turn your sports knowledge into real winnings. PrizePicks is daily fantasy made really simple. Just pick more or less on a few player projections, like points, assists, goals, and you can win up to 2,000 times your money. For example, this week I've got Jalen Brunson for more than 24.5 points, or Jason Tatum for more than 6.5 rebounds. I love how fast and easy it is to lock in a lineup in just under a minute. Plus, they've got a couple of weekly features, like, for example, Flex Friday. If your lineup doesn't win, you get your net losses back in promo funds. And every Tuesday, check out Taco Tuesday for discounted player projections up to 25% off. So download the app today and use the code CAMPEA to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CAMPEA to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. Run your game. And thank you to our friends at PrizePicks for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. All right, guys. With that down, let's get on to your questions here, shall we? Jonathan, what we got up first?
Got Ryan Fennelly. He says, hey, any chance of a one-off of a Jedi Council reunion? Started watching when I was 13. Now I'm 22. Wow, we have a lot of long-time viewers. I'd love to see Harloff Ellis talking Andor. I definitely think Luthen dies. I'd love to see Mothma be one to kill, be the one to kill Luthen. I don't think so. Bring on the filth because they're.
I keep calling Luthen Lumen, by the way.
Oh yeah, I know.
Lumen Industries.
I mean, look, I don't. Yeah, it's not impossible. I mean, I honestly, I don't talk to Mark much anymore. Like unfortunately, our communications now is mostly done like most modern communication, commenting and liking on each other's Instagram posts. Hey, he just left a comment on my Instagram post yesterday. As a matter of fact,
it's hard because he's on the road a lot.
Hey, he's on the road a lot, and he's got a full-time gig with Rotten Tomatoes. But you know, I could see me and Christian and Mark doing like a one-off, maybe before Mandalorian comes out or something like that. We could do a little makeshift Jedi Council.
Could be cool.
That would be kind of fun. I don't know why we couldn't do that. I'll tell you what, I'll drop Christian a note, see if we want to arrange it. All right, what's next?
We got Delpho Chronic says, John, even though I can watch it as a part of my Disney Plus subscription, if they said the last 3 episodes of Andor would be available to see at my local cinema, I'd be happy to pay it. Can't wait. This is Star Wars.
Yeah, so would I. The problem is not enough people would be like you and me to justify rolling out a campaign and booking screens and stuff like that. But listen, yeah, if I had my choice to watch it tonight at home or buy tickets to go see the final 2.5 hours of Andor on the big screen at my local AMC or Regal or whatever, I'd fucking be there with bells on. I'd be there right away, no doubt. All right, what's next?
We got Anonymous who says, Cannes Film Festival just announced a new dress code going forward. I asked both as a joke and a serious question. I thought the French were known for embracing nudity. Is this actually a big deal? And i.e., should this be celebrated or criticized?
I think
Or
it
who
should be
cares?
celebrated. I like it. I'm not saying that all movie going should be that, but the Cannes Film Festival is a prestigious big deal, and they want to increase the feel of that. And so they're implementing a dress code. I'm for it. Yeah, I got no problem with that. Now, if this was Regal Cinemas saying we now have a dress code, well, I mean, all movie theaters do have, to a degree, a dress code. But if Regal Theaters were to come out and say we have a more formal dress code, you have to have a jacket and a button-up shirt, blah, 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 that would be stupid. But for a annual special event like that, yeah, I dig it. I like them having that. I mean, I'm not going, so it's fine. But yeah, I think it's a good idea. Why not?
We should enforce more smell codes.
Yeah, Comic-Con. Enforce a smell. Instead of going through a metal detector at Comic-Con, once you go through the metal detector, have like police dogs that just are there specializing in body odor. And if you get flagged by the dogs, you got to go back to your hotel room and take a damn shower, kid. So yes, smell standards. All right, what's next?
We got Anonymous says, been enjoying this season of The Last of Us. As someone who didn't like the second game, the game pacing is horrendous, among other things. One thing that bothers me is Ellie masking her true nature. It made sense in Jackson, but who is she keeping the facade for now? Is it Dina?
Absolutely. The person she has her biggest crush on and is in love with? 100%. 100%. And by the way, I still stand by the majority of people. I still stand by that The Last of Us 2 game is the single best storytelling ever done in a video game. I'm not saying it's the best video game of all time, but I'm saying that for me is Baldur's Gate 3. That is the best video game of all time. But I think it makes no question to me. It's easy. It's hands down. It is the single best storytelling ever done in a video game is Last of Us 2. And I think they're doing a really good job. I mean, I thought this latest episode, oh my God, they're doing such a good job of making it tense and all that kind of stuff. I think it's been great so far. All right, what's next?
DZ Studio says, hi, John. Not sure if you've mentioned this before, but have you seen the new Dangerous Animals trailer starring Jai Courtney? It's an interesting plot, but I'm still on the fence about it. Just curious if you've come across this one.
I have not. I mean, I saw a headline for it, but I meant to watch the trailer, but I never have. You know what? There's a lot of people out there not big fans of Jai Courtney. I think we were just talking about my friend Christian Harloff. If I remember correctly, I don't think he's a big fan of Jai Courtney. I like Jai Courtney. He's one of the stars of one of my all-time favorite television shows, Spartacus. I used to like him in that. I like Jai Courtney. He hasn't always been in the best stuff, but I think he's pretty good. So, but no, I haven't seen this trailer yet, and I don't know much about the project yet, but I'm looking forward to checking it out. All right, what's next?
Doug says DC characters Superman, Batman, and Joker and Wonder Woman enter public domain in about 10 years. Do you think DC studios should pick up the pace in getting films made before they have to compete with other studios, Batman movies, new Snyderverse, anyone?
Not really. Because here's the thing. You know what else is in the public domain? Wizard of Oz. Wizard of Oz is in the public domain. Anybody can go and make a Wizard of Oz movie. Here's the catch. It's the specific things about the Wizard of Oz that are in the public domain are only and excessively limited to what's in that original book. That's what's in the public domain. There are things done in the original Wizard of Oz movie that were not in the book. They were original to the movie. Just because Wizard of Oz is in the public domain, that doesn't mean everything that's ever been done in the Wizard of Oz is in the public domain. So, for example, if I remember this correctly, the ruby red slippers, this is just an example, are not in the book.
Mm-hmm.
So if you wanted to make a Wizard of Oz movie, you can, but you can't use ruby red slippers. And there's like a whole long laundry list of things that you're not actually allowed to do because they originally this. Superman comes out into the public domain. It's only as he existed in those first comics. You know what Superman couldn't do in the first comic? Fly. That came later. Anything introduced in Superman after the creation. See, that's where a lot of people get the mistakes. They think, oh, if Batman goes in the public domain, that means I can make a Batman movie and I can have Bane and I can have the Court of Owls and I can have all the... No, you can't, because somebody else created that later, and that's not a part of the public domain. The reality is, even though... Did you know Thor is in the public domain? Yes, yeah. Thor's in the public domain, everybody. Has been forever. That hasn't hindered Marvel at all. That hasn't gotten in the way for Marvel at all. But the character of Thor is in the public domain. But not everything associated with Thor that got added to him after his creation. So while everybody is thinking this is some big Armageddon for DC, it really isn't. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you can do it well or that you should do something. You and I, Rob and I actually talked about this a year ago. Rob and I, if we wanted to, we could make a Thor movie. Yep. Totally legal. Totally legal for us to make a Thor movie if we want to. But it wouldn't be anything like the Thor everybody knows and loves, and therefore nobody really does it. So anyway.
Thor Noir.
We're going to do Thor Noir. It's all going to be in black and white. He's going to be a private detective on Asgard.
Audio drama.
So, yeah. So honestly, everybody's talking like this is going to be some big kind of Armageddon. And I'm telling you, it's really not. It's not going to be too much of an interruption to them at all. Anyway, what's next?
Mr. Snivy says, I've recently thought about the trope of the damsel in distress in storytelling. I would like to hear if there are any good or bad damsel in distress characters. Some good ones I can think of include April in TMNT, Henry Jones in Indiana Jones 3, Anya in Spy Family, Mako in Kill La Kill, and Bob in Thunderbolts. While some really awful ones include Coda in My Hero Academia, Bella in Twilight, Jar Jar in Star Wars. Jar Jar's just bad no matter what. The three girls in Madam Web, and Maisie in Jurassic World 2 and 3.
Really, it depends on what your definition of the woman in distress. Is your definition just anybody at any point in any story that needs saving? Because if that's the case, at one point Luke was the damsel in distress because Vader was about to blow him out of the orbital sky before Han Solo came swooping in to save the day. Like before he came in and got him. So I mean, I don't know. It really depends on your definition. I don't know. Like, to me, the classical damsel in distress trope is when the whole story is focused around, I have to go save this girl. That's the whole point of everything. And I don't know if any of the stuff that you just listed really kind of falls under that category. So again, it all depends on our definitions. So it's hard to really answer it without having some kind of a concrete, commonly understood definition. Anyway.
The best one is Daphne and Dragon's Lair.
Oh, yes. No, left. Go left.
Yeah.
All right. What's next?
World's Greatest Detective. John, my favorite theater is playing Dr. Zhivago. You refuse my sugar.
Wow.
This Saturday on one of my faves. I love that line. It's so, but I'm gonna catch up on Andor and Daredevil instead because I'm starting a new YouTube channel and watching them would be more relevant. And I imagine you make sacrifices this often.
I mean, yeah. I'll give you an example. Where I should be right now is in Los Angeles by USC. Because as many of you know, my wife, who is stupidly educated, she has 2 bachelor degrees, she has 2 master's degrees, and she is graduating tomorrow with her doctorate. She's gonna be Doc from now on. I told her I'm just gonna call her Doc from now on. So Dr. Ann Campea, as of tomorrow, big grad. She's gonna walk, do the walk, get her, whatever degree, wear the big funny hat. The pre-festivities are starting today, and I should really be there. My wife is also incredibly cool and very understanding. So she knows I have the show to do. She knows I gotta watch Andor tonight. Like it's the finale. It's just too important to my job and everything. I gotta watch Andor tonight. I gotta do a little stream later tonight, following up on Andor. And even then tomorrow, while in LA, I'm gonna be a little late getting to the ceremony because I have to do the show from the hotel room because the Superman trailer is dropping tomorrow. And Ann's like, you can't miss your show where where the Superman trailer drops. I'm like, you're the best, baby. So like, I'm going to be at the hotel tonight. I'm going to go late tonight, long after Andor's done. I'm probably going to get up to the hotel by USC by around like maybe midnight. And then while everybody else leaves to go to the ceremony at 10 a.m., I will probably leave I'll still get there in time to see her walk. But I'm going to be getting there later than everybody else is getting there. And so, yes, yeah. When you have a job, when you have responsibilities, it sometimes means you gotta make sacrifices. And to me, fortunately, I don't have to miss my wife's graduation. I'm just gonna get there later than everybody else does. But still, you gotta get what you do. You gotta get what you do. But hey, listen, just for the record, it was my wife who brought up to me saying, just don't skip your show. Bring your laptop, do it from the hotel room. I'm like, it's okay if I miss it. She goes like, it's the Andor finale. You have to talk about it. And it's the Superman trailer. You have to talk about it. She goes, you're going to be there in time for the start of the ceremony. It's okay. So I just have the best wife in the world. All right. What's next?
We got Amin who says game day. I know you haven't done after shows for Andor this season, but any chance you do one maybe this week for a full season recap? Including Rogue One as part of it. I know we can ask questions on open mic in the main show, but would still be great.
I definitely don't think we would do anything involving Rogue One. That's completely
That's pretty
different.
old.
I don't know. Like, I might do one tonight. Now, normally that means it's like 1 a.m. for everybody on the East Coast, but I'm going to be in LA tomorrow. And so it's my whole wife's graduation ceremony, and then there's the dinners and everything after that as well. So I can't do it tomorrow night. And then if I can't do it by tomorrow night, then it's really no point in doing it. So what I think I'm going to do is like tonight, I think I'm going to do an open spoiler. Now that means not everybody can participate because they either will be in bed or they won't have watched it till tomorrow. But I think I might do one tonight. We'll see. All right, what's next?
We got Bob's Boob Horn Emporium.
Yeah.
Uh,
Croissant
with
horns.
with a $20 tip.
Thank you, Bob.
Hey, Campy crew, what is your opinion of Prince's Purple Rain? I'm an avid Prince disciple. I used to see it as his autobiography. Now that I'm older, I feel that a true biopic could happen, but not sure if I want it.
Oh man, I used to love Purple Rain.
Yeah.
Jungle Love, oh. Wasn't that was
Yeah.
the song that the other guy singing, right?
Yeah.
Think I wanna know ya. Do. Yeah, I thought I used to love Purple Rain, man. I thought that movie was great at the time. Now, as I got a little bit older and then I watched it again later, I still like Purple Rain. I do. It wasn't as great as I remembered watching it as a really young kid. But I think listen, if the Michael biopic works, I'll tell you, within 2 years, not 10, within 2 years, we're going to hear of a movie get announced called Purple Rain and the Prince story. I think we're going to get one there. From the stuff I've read some very interesting stories from his life. And I think that could make for a really interesting biopic. So yeah, I think we'll get one. All right, what's next?
Raymond says, finally, YouTube is going after the fake trailer makers. I just saw that Spider-Man Noir has a teaser. When I did a search, all these fake trailers and concept videos from a few months back came up. Please don't waste our time and get a real job. YouTube AI.
Yeah, when I got the notification that the exact same experience happened to me today. I got the notification that they launched a Spider-Man Noir trailer. So, of course, I went to YouTube and searched Spider-Man Noir trailer. And like the first bunch of results. Now, granted, it had only been out for like 30 minutes. So it didn't get a real chance to dig in its heels in the algorithm. But like the first 6 results were all fake. There's all fake trailers. Your search engine, and YouTube is the second biggest search engine on the internet next to Google. Your search engine becomes useless if I can't find the stuff I'm looking for. And so YouTube's got to really crack down on this crap. All right, what's next?
Drill Master Josh with $20 tip.
Thank you.
Says, John and crew, your show is amazing, and I'm a consistent watcher from the DC area. I know lists can change depending on our mood and every time a new movie comes out, but if you had to list your top 5 MCU movies today, what would they be?
Anybody know what I'm about to say?
I
I don't do top 5 lists.
Yeah.
Now, I will do them if I plan a video in advance or stuff like that, but I don't answer top 10, top 5, whatever questions, because that's literally something I have to sit down and think about and all that kind of stuff.
And really order, yeah.
I mean, I will tell you, I still think the greatest comic book movie of all time is the first Joss Whedon directed Avengers movie. I still think that's the best comic book movie ever made for several reasons. But I mean, and then you'd have to throw films in there too, like Winter Soldier would have to be up in there.
Yeah, for
The
me
Civil
too.
War for me would be up in there somewhere, but I can't really do a list of it,
Yeah.
unfortunately. All right, what's next?
Because there's been like 40 some now. Mr. Snivy says, out of these Will Ferrell roles, which is your favorite? Megamind, Mugatu of Zoolander, Lord Business from Lego Movie, Anchorman, or the Mattel CEO? For me, it's on that list, Anchorman for me.
Yeah, I got to go Anchorman, Ron Burgundy. Like, listen, I know people don't talk about Anchorman 2 nearly as much, and I get it, but my God, he's got some gold moments even in Anchorman 2.
Yeah.
I love Ron Burgundy. Now, you forgot to put on his stepbrother's character.
That's my favorite Will Ferrell movie.
That's my absolute favorite Will Ferrell performance is Step Brothers. But yeah, on that list, Ron Burgundy. All right, what's next?
We got
Milk was a bad choice.
God. Your Master Josh says, hey, John and crew, do you have any DC comic characters you'd like to have spotlighted in the new DCU? There are plenty of characters that audiences aren't aware of, but I'm sure if done right, they could be household names like the MCU. I'll tell you, James Gunn is in charge of it, and he's great at doing that.
Listen,
introducing new characters we don't often think about.
if James Gunn can make a talking raccoon beloved, if he can make a walking tree beloved, he can take a character called Polka Dot Man and make people love he took a character called Rat Catcher. Rat Catcher. And made it one of the most emotionally traumatizing and heartfelt and moving moments in a superhero movie that I've ever seen. When you get the backstory, they tell the backstory of Ratcatcher, of Ratcatcher 2, I should say.
his daughter.
I mean, he can do just about anybody. Now, as far as a character, I mean, obviously we'll think outside of the main line, right? We'll think outside of the Wonder Womans and Superman and Batman. There's not a lot of big iconic DC characters once you get outside of the Trinity. I mean, there's certain members of the Bat family, but those are derivative characters. I think one to me, it would be a very tricky character to do, but if they did him right, it could be pretty damn cool. That's Booster Gold. If again, that's a character that has a lot of potential of just being really weird and like off. But if you could do Booster Gold well, and I think if anybody could crack the code on a Booster Gold, I think it would be James Gunn. I think Booster Gold in the DC realm, I think that would be an interesting one to do. Oh, by the way, I just saw that Francois in the live chat also mentioned another character, Plastic Man. But listen to me. Here's the thing. A lot of people, they think Plastic Man, and they just see the silly, I can stretch. Listen, done right, Plastic Man can be DC's Sentry. If you want to see a great explanation about just how bloody dangerous Plastic Man is, I keep forgetting the name of the follow-up series to The Dark Knight Returns. I keep forgetting the name of it. But in that follow-up story, Batman, you don't know who he's breaking out, but Batman goes to break somebody out of this prison. And it turns out it was Plastic Man. But during that whole time that he's breaking him out, you see this internal monologue that Batman's having with himself. Like he's giving exposition. And he still doesn't say who it is he's breaking out. But and I'm paraphrasing, but basically Batman's talking about how this is a huge gamble. Because we don't know the mindset that he has right now. Again, we don't know as the reader that it's Plastic Man yet. We just know it's some powerful godlike character. Because Batman's like, if he's not in his right mind, he could kill all of us easily, is what Batman says. He'll kill us all easily. And then you realize it's Plastic Man. And ever since then, they started treating Plastic Man different. Like actually, even in Injustice Gods Among Us, in the main storyline of it, like Plastic Man is one of the few guys that like he walked, because Superman and his guys, sorry, I'm going off on this, but here's the thing. In this one side story of Injustice Gods Among Us, you got Superman and his main henches, Wonder Woman, he's got all of his Justice League lackeys, their thing. Anyway, they arrest Plastic Man's son. And Plastic Man is fuck that. And Plastic Man by himself marches into Superman's throne room, surrounded by all these other Justice League, members that have gone bad with Superman. And he is not impressed. And even everybody's in there acting tough, but are all like, everybody be cool. This is fucking Plastic Man. And he's Plastic Man, like gets right up and like threatens Superman. In fact, it's like awesome. It's like totally awesome. So yeah, the two guys I would say would be Booster Gold, but also like James Gunn, Plastic Man in the hands of James Gunn. That could be really fun too. That'd be really fun. Anyway, all right. What's next?
Let's see. We got Anonymous says, "Hey John, I was wondering how exactly streaming shows make money. Do studios examine the profitability of individual shows, or just look at their overall contribution to the streaming service, and how would they actually calculate it?"
The main thing that that they have traditionally done in streaming services is here's the main analytic they look at. The main analytic is not views. It's not anything. Here's the number one analytic they look at. And this might be we've talked about it before, but if you haven't heard this might surprise you. First views upon sign up. That is their number one analytic. they check to see, because, every month, hundreds of thousands of people sign up to all the streaming services, right? The number one thing they look at is when somebody signs up, either as a returning customer or a first-time customer or whatever, what is the first thing they watch? That one little data point gives them worlds of information. So, like, let's say Lanterns, the new Green Lantern show comes out. It's on Max. What Max is going to be very interested in for the first number of weeks that this out is, of all the people who just return as customers or sign up first, is Lanterns the first thing they're going to? Because to streamers, the number one thing is not what gets the most views. It's what gets the most new subscribers, or what gets the most returning subscribers. That is the almighty to them. Traditional television, it's view numbers. Internet, traditionally, view numbers. YouTube, view numbers. But for streaming services, everybody used to ask, why is Netflix canceling these super popular shows after just like 2 seasons or 3 seasons? The reason they would cancel those shows is because even though a lot of people were watching it, they weren't getting any new subscribers. Everybody who was going to sign up to Netflix to watch that show has already signed up, and it's not getting any new subscribers coming in. So even if it was in the top 10, after a couple seasons, Netflix pulls the plug because it's not bringing in new subscribers. And that is the be-all, end-all data point for streamers. Now, that's starting to change. Now, look, by the way, Seth Gibson says in the live chat, let's bring this up. Here's the thing.
All right. Live chat.
The comment in the live chat. Seth Gibson.
Oh, right here. Yeah.
Is saying that's a dumb way to do things. Only if you don't understand how it works. If you've got a streaming show and 1 million people watch it, but not one of them are new subscribers, you know how much money that show has made for you? Nothing. The math works differently for streaming services than it does for traditional television. It's all about what is attracting in returning customers or new customers. Because once they're there, they're there. When I pay my $15 a month or $17 a month or $18 a month, they're only getting that $18 a month from me, whether I watch one show or whether I watch 200 hours of TV. Makes no difference. Makes no difference. It would make a difference on YouTube. It would make a difference on traditional celestial television, but it doesn't make a difference to the streamer. Whether I watch one episode of something or whether I watch 400 episodes of something, to them, it's still $18. So that's the thing. Now, that is starting to change a little bit because now the streamers are trying to become more and more like traditional television, and they're trying to herd people into their ad-supported. Hey, you can save $10 a month if you take our ad-supported tier, because now if 1 million people on the ad-supported tier watch a show, well, that does make them money because they're playing commercials, right? So it's in flux right now. That's why you're seeing companies like Hulu and Netflix really trying to herd like sheep a lot of people to take the cheaper ad-supported program tier because they want to go back to the way of traditional cable television and make it all about commercials. And it's understandable that they're doing that because that makes them some money. Anyway, all right, what's next?
We got Sal Saperstein is here. Thanks,
Yes,
Sal Saperstein.
Sal.
Thank you, Sal
Thank you, Sal.
Saperstein.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wow. Buenos dias. When did you know Anne was the one, and how did you propose?
And this is true. I actually told this story at our wedding. It wasn't an out of nowhere moment. All right. It wasn't like this happened and then therefore this. It was Like when I first met Anne, honestly, I'd only planned on being in LA for a year. That was it. And so when we met and, we went on a date or two, like I let her know right away, listen, I'm only looking for something short term. I'm planning on leaving, in about 11 months. I'm going to leave the country. I'm not looking for anything serious. And she was like, she had just gotten out of like a 5-year relationship or something like that. And she's like, I'm not looking for anything serious either. I'm like, great. So we just started hanging out. And this is what I said up at the wedding. I said, I found myself every day looking forward to seeing her until one day I woke up and I realized it had changed from I'm looking forward to seeing her to I can't imagine not seeing her. That was the day that I knew I was in trouble. That was the day I knew I was in trouble. And it was probably about 4 or 5 months, maybe even less than that, maybe 3 or 4 months into our relationship that happened to me one day. I woke up and I thought, I can't imagine not seeing her today. And that's, yep, that's when I knew it was game over, man. The whole Campea master plan of coming to LA and dating all these actresses and stuff like that, which was going well for me until I met Anne. Yep. Sidetracked the whole thing. All gone. As far as how I proposed, I didn't really officially propose. It was like just one of these things where after we were together for like 6, 7, 8, 9 months, we decided, okay, if we're together for a year, we're going to move in together. And then we moved in together. And it just eventually just evolved that we just started talking about marriage. And before we knew it, we decided to get married. But to this day, neither of us can point to the moment that we decided to get married. And so at some point, it just became redundant. It's like, there's really no point in me proposing because for like the last 5 months, we've known we were getting, anyway. So there's no real proposal story, unfortunately. How romantic of me, huh? All right. Anyway, what's next?
Right, guy says, today I watched Azerbaijani chef Kanan Batalon grill a steak aged in butter for 2 weeks on the edge of a cliff. It was really cool. 2, outside of Disney and Pixar, what are some of your personal favorite animated films growing up?
Oh, outside of Disney and Pixar?
Mine was The Secret of NIMH.
I was about to say The Secret of NIMH.
Really?
Oh, or the original? Do you know the original title?
The Rats of NIMH.
The Rats of NIMH.
Yeah.
Nicodemus. I used to, but you know what's really, I remember the first time I watched that movie again as an adult.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is a dark movie, man.
Oh, yeah. I always felt mildly depressed.
Yeah, it's a dark movie. Yeah. But I don't remember the studio behind it. I don't think it couldn't have been Disney.
No, Don Bluth was the artist, but it was a different distributor.
Yeah. But yeah, the Secret of NIMH, and you know what, to me, it's still it's a masterful movie. It's a really good movie. And yeah, check it out if you haven't had a chance. But that's the one that really stands. Now, what other ones that aren't Disney? Now, I can think of some more modern ones like Shrek or Kung Fu Panda I really like. But like back when I was a kid, I have a hard time remembering.
That was United Artists was The Secret of NIMH.
Was it? Yeah, other than The Secret of NIMH, I have a hard time remembering them. Anyway. All right, what's next?
We got Stony Snark. Thank you, John. I thought I recognized you from AMC. Though I recognize you from AMC days, I didn't start following until Collider. Your input has taken me from a movie fan to someone who can now recognize and appreciate aspects of filmmaking I took for granted for many years.
Oh, thank you so much for that, man. You know, one of the things I used to say in our introduction, I can't remember if it was at the Collider time or even once we started the John Campea Show, I can't remember. But one of the things that I used to have in my intro was something along the lines of, we want you to know more about what's going on in the world of movies than your friends do when you go and have conversations with them, right? Like that's kind of like one of our hidden missions is that we want people who watch the John Campea Show, when they're hanging out with their friends or they're hanging around the water cooler at work, there's an old throwback saying for you, or any of that kind of stuff. We want you to be the one who knows more about what's going on. So we kind of structure our show in such a way that's what we hope, that you walk away from the show and you're going to be the one that all your friends come to for information about what's going on in movies, because we give it to you. At least that's our hope. But anyway, thank you for that, man. I appreciate that very much. Thanks for being around that long. All right, what's next?
Anonymous says, not sure if it will be brought up, but Ironheart just had a scene, a behind the scenes teaser release. with the trailer dropping tomorrow. Is it a coincidence it drops the same day as Superman, or could they be trying to bury it due to lack of faith in the show?
I don't know. Disney just had some kind of an event today. Actually, there's an event going on, I think, at 1:00 this afternoon. There's some kind of Disney thing happening. I actually think they're going to drop the trailer today.
Oh.
I thought it was happening today. So.
Yeah, I think they're going to drop it today after 1 p.m. 1 p.m. LA time. So we'll see. Again, this is a show that I'm completely open to it winning me over. But it is going to have to win me over. Because they didn't do the character any favors with the way they handled her in Black Panther Wakanda Forever. If anything, they made me less interested in the character. So unlike, say, Civil War, where they gave us an introduction to Black Panther, to T'Challa, which super heightened our excitement and anticipation for the character when he got his own movie. In Black Panther Wakanda Forever, they introduced Riri, and I just didn't think they did a good job with her. So I'm really hoping this trailer can win us over. So I'm interested in seeing it. I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do with it. All right, what's next?
John says 1 of 2 on yesterday's show. Benji the Husky said he wasn't 100% into The Last of Us. I'm writing to back him up. I bailed after season 1. The show has great technical elements, but the story is surface level to me. Glad it's working for you, but I've had a harder time getting into the superhero fantasy TV. The Penguin and Andor weren't for me either. If anyone listening feels the same, then that's okay. Your taste is valid too. I do love The Pit, White Lotus, The Studio, and Shrinking.
Oh, not everything's for everybody.
I just think you're not into that genre.
Yeah, you're just not into genre stuff. And that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, listen, to me, this is some of the greatest television ever made. I mean, Penguin was phenomenal. Andor is the greatest Star Wars, I think, since the original trilogy. And obviously Last of Us, I think, I mean, it was not literally, it got the highest honor in television. It was nominated for Best Drama Series at the Emmys, which is crazy. I think a video game adaptation did that. But you know what else is nominated for Best Drama at the Emmys? White Lotus. And I don't like White Lotus. I frankly find the show a little bit insufferable. And that's okay. It works for a bunch of people. Doesn't work for me. And there's nothing wrong. That's the great thing about art. Penguin, I think, is fantastic, but it doesn't work for you. And that's totally okay. That's the beautiful thing about the art, is that it hits us all in different ways. Sometimes better than others. All right, what's next?
We got, a performing artist. Hello, team, all caught up on Andor now. Even after the scene where Bix and Andor go to try to get his wound healed, I had forgot that this is a world where the Force exists, a testament to the writing. Now I want her story to climax with her becoming a Jedi.
Who, Bix?
I'm not sure.
No, she ain't going to become a Jedi.
Didn't seem like she was Force sensitive.
No. I don't even know if we're going to see her tonight. I think she might be gone.
I think that's the whole point. She's gone.
Well, maybe, but remember too that every week is a year later. So maybe she was gone for a year, and then maybe she comes back and joins the rebellion and then dies in a mission tonight. I mean, I don't know. I like to think she doesn't die. I like to think that she survives the events of Star Wars and gets to live a life. I'm also very, very curious to see what they do with Luthen. I mean, clearly the most obvious thing is that Luthen dies. The Empire catches him and he's executed, or he dies in some heroic way. I'm still holding out hope that he just leaves. That Yavin is now set up. That was the whole point, to get a rebellion organized. And once he's done that, he just leaves. He's no longer useful. Like, he's served his purpose. And then he just gets up, gets in that magnificent ship of his, and just flies away. Again, I don't know if that's likely, but I'm looking forward to finding out tonight. All right, what's next?
Ray with a $20 tip.
Thank you, Ray.
Hey, John and crew, hope all is well and good. Yesterday, you were all talking about Lewis Pullman and what he's been on. Surprised you haven't mentioned Outer Range. He does a great job playing a country boy in that show. That's on Amazon.
Wait, is that the Josh Brolin show?
Yeah, it's on Amazon.
I don't remember him in that. Listen, I'll be honest. That was a show that I was really excited about, and I did get through the whole first season, and then I tapped out. I thought it was an incredible premise.
There he is.
For me, it never did anything that was him. I had no idea. I learned something new every day on this show. To me, it's a fascinating premise that once they set up the premise, I never found they did anything to deepen it. No pun intended, because I know the show's about a big hole. But they didn't do anything to deepen it or to get me more invested. And so I just watched. And then by the end of the first season, I thought, oh, that's an interesting twist. And then I just kind of tapped out, unfortunately. But I totally didn't know that was him in that. I'm glad you let us know. All right, what's next?
Sam Fisher says, really cool fact I learned on the screenwriters of the live action Lilo and Stitch's mom is the leader of the children's choir who both sang on the original and the live action.
Yes. So the woman, because in the original animated Lilo and Stitch, there's a couple of musical numbers that is clearly a Hawaiian children's choir singing, da, 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 right? So they do that again in this live action movie, and they got the same woman who conducted that children's choir to conduct the children's choir for this movie. And here's the twist. Her son is the screenwriter for the live action movie. So she did the conducting of the children's choir for the original film, and her son grew up to be the screenwriter of the live action version. I think that's just like one of these wonderful things. I love that little story. That's great. All right, what's next?
Jerry says, hi guys, seeing the first reactions for MI Final Reckoning. I think it could get a B, maximum B plus at the cinema score and 60 to 7% range on Rotten. With these results, do you think Thunderbolts could benefit from the box office and take some audience?
Well,
I always go ahead.
You ask that as if Thunderbolts is coming out after Mission Impossible. Like no, it's not a matter of it taking box office. It's a matter of how much or how little will it continue? Because remember, every movie loses some more and more every week. So the question is, will it be able to have good legs despite the fact that we've got two big movies like Lilo and Stitch and Mission Impossible coming out? I expect another 50% drop, which is good for Thunderbolts. I really do, even though Lilo and Stitch are coming in. Now, of course, this week, they've got to deal with Final Destination. I think it'll have another modest 50% drop, maybe even less. So I think it'll be fine. But again, by the time they get to Mission Impossible, it's going to have been in theaters. It's going into its fourth week by the time those come out, right? And that's never when the movie's making most of its money anyway. So it's not really an issue. All right, what's next?
This is really funny. Grinning Wombat in a two-parter. Hey, John. First time tipper, long time viewer.
Thank you so much, man.
I was wondering if you've ever seen the short film Kung Fury.
Yep,
and
sure have.
And it's funny to me because you were bringing up, I'll get back to this real quick, but you were bringing up you can use Thor, just not Marvel's Thor. And there's a version of Thor in Kung Fury.
That's right.
I was wondering if you have ever seen the short. Came out about 10 years ago and got popular enough to secure funding for a feature movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Michael Fassbender. It just doubled up. So let me see if there's okay. However, the movie has been in limbo for 5 years now due to legal issues. The past weekend, there was a 10-minute sizzle reel leaked that is basically the whole movie, and it is hilarious. Have you seen this or the original? What are your thoughts?
Yes, but I'll be honest with you. I never knew about the Arnold Schwarzenegger thing.
Nor did I. I knew about the short.
Yeah, but I never knew about that.
Yeah.
So that's totally new to me. That thing had like an instant. I mean, it didn't last long.
No.
It didn't last long. But it had a very pronounced splash in the pop cultural consciousness. It like came out of nowhere and everybody like watched it for a couple of days and then it kind of faded away. But yes, I remember, but I had no idea that I never followed that news that they were trying to make a feature film out of it.
I love that short.
All right, what's next?
Jai with a two-parter. AMC doing 50% off tickets. So theoretically, that's 2 tickets for the price of 1 if you're both members. On Wednesdays too. Where I heard that before? Oh yeah, it's a scheme we've had in the UK since 2002. Snarking aside, it's a good move from AMC, but I raise an eyebrow when this great new idea pitched by Adam Aaron is one that's been done for years elsewhere. I am reminded of assigning seating, which I think US theaters were slow to adopt. I don't know that it's necessarily new, but it's new for us.
Yeah, it's new here. Look, it's not like wait, no one's ever thought of doing half-price tickets. Of course, they didn't come up with the idea, obviously. But it's a very good move to implement it. listen, there are two stages in moving an organization. This used to be talked about in business management. There's two stages to moving an organization forward, and they're both equally important. And they're both equally fail points as well. Number one is having a good idea, but number two is actually implementing the good idea. You'd be surprised how much in organizations and in structures where there are plenty of good ideas that just die being good ideas and never get implemented. So yeah, everybody knows that having a half-price day in the middle of the week is a good idea. Tuesdays have shown us that for decades, right? It used to be when I was a kid, it was $2 Tuesdays. Then it was like $5 Tuesdays. But so that's been around forever, right? That's been around forever, even in North America. It doesn't take Einstein to think maybe it's a good idea to stretch it out to another day. But to actually do it. And that's where I give Adam Aaron and the folks at AMC credit. Now, listen, I give Adam Aaron a lot of crap. Deservedly so. He's a buffoon. But if I'm going to give crap, I got to give credit where credit's due. And that idea is easy, but to actually do it, I think it's great that they're doing it, and I give credit where credit's due. This is a good move, and I hope it works for them. All right, what's next?
Anonymous says, what is the greatest action movie in your opinion? I remember walking out of the original Avengers movie for the first time feeling absolutely exhilarated. I put it up there.
It depends on how you categorize things, right? Like, in a way, is the Avengers an action film? Yes, in a way, but it's not. When I think of the first genre that comes to mind, I think of it's a comic book film, right? My favorite pure action film of all, I'll give you my top two. My favorite action film of all time is Arnold Schwarzenegger's True Lies.
Mm-hmm.
My all-time favorite action film. I love that movie. I passionately love that movie. I was kind of heartbroken when they did the live action series and it wasn't all that good, but True Lies is my all-time favorite. So yeah, anyway, that's my favorite. But yes, I do love the original Avengers as an action film for sure. But again, that's just not how I categorize it in my head. All right, what's next?
Okay, we got three more. Jai CSC says, while I'm sending tip links this evening, it's been 3 years since Wong's last MCU appearance. With that long of an absence, I'm starting to wonder when he next shows up. If I'll fangasm more than when Steve Rogers emerged from the shadows in Infinity War.
How long ago was She-Hulk?
I guess 3 years.
Was
it the first year we were in the other studio?
No, it was after that, I thought.
Yeah, because he was in that. Maybe he's thinking like Multiverse of Madness.
Dude, you got a release date for She-Hulk?
Yeah, sorry.
Let's see.
My browser's locked up. It's
2022. Yeah.
So it has been 3 years.
It's been.
Wow. You can't see it here, but literally on my wall, I don't have a camera.
Oh, yeah.
On my wall in my studio here, I got a picture of us with him. Me and Ann with him. So, I mean, I love the character. It's the Wong Cinematic Universe. Oh my God.
I guess Multiverse was the same year.
3 years since She-Hulk?
It could have been the end of 22, so like maybe 2.5.
No, I think it was like summer, if I remember it right. I think I remember watching in the summertime. 3 years?
You know what? Yes, it was when we first moved into the studio because we were trying out a pre-show and then a post-show. Remember? After show.
Oh, yeah.
And that's when those launched. So yeah, that was.
Ooh, I can't believe it was that long ago. All right. What's next?
We got Jai's Backs is also during a friendly conversation with our vice principal today. Please don't stop your lesson to watch the new Superman trailer again. Joke's on them. I'm not teaching any lessons tomorrow afternoon, so I'm projecting on my class screen when it drops. Good for you. What a good teacher.
I can't. It's been a while since I've been this excited about a trailer.
It's been a while.
I hope it doesn't disappoint me.
I know, right?
I really hope it doesn't disappoint me, but I like the look at the tease that we got today. I love the poster. I like everything I've seen so far. And then again, I liked what I saw in Craven before I saw Craven. So, we'll see how that goes.
Here's our final tip. Mr.
All right.
I says, I confirmed Ironheart trailer tomorrow. 3-episode premiere, but it's only 6 episodes, so they're dropping half the season at once.
That is interesting. So they are. I really think it's going to come out today, but if they're saying it's confirmed that it's coming out tomorrow, I guess so. first of all, I do like dropping a new series with multiple episodes at first.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it takes you a beat to get into the series. And so having your first debut date with 2 or 3 episodes, I think is wonderful. But when you only have 6 episodes, if we're right about that, and it is indeed 6 episodes, that's an interesting choice.
Yep.
And all right, guys, that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show podcast. Thank you so much for being here and making our little show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in the questions. Number 1, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number 2, you supported this channel as you did it. And all of us involved with the show, thank you guys so very much for your support. Big thank you to Robert Meyer Burnett for being here a little bit earlier. Of course, Ray Ora.
All right, see you guys tomorrow.
Jonathan Voico.
See you guys.
Guys, tomorrow, big show. Talking about the Andor finale, and we got the new trailer for Superman. Please make sure you join us. I'm looking forward to it. And guys, if you're around and up late tonight, I will be doing a little stream afterwards. I'm not going to do it for like 2 hours, but I am going to be doing a little stream after I watch Andor. So if you want to jump on and join me and talk about it, that's going to be doing a little bit later. So that'll do it for us for now, guys, though. Thanks a lot for being here. My name's John Campea. And until later, my friends, bye-bye.